I'm Emily Mashak, and you are listening to Tuned Into NoCo, Town Square Media's show that lets you know what matters in NoCo. I am sitting down today with Mandy, Lee, and Annie Davies from the United Way of Larimer County. So thank you for joining me today, ladies.
Thank you so much, Emily, for having us.
Before we get started, I know we've had you on before, so welcome back. But for those who are new to the program and don't know, what is the United Way of Larimer County?
Well, for those of you who are not familiar with the organization, we've been around in northern Colorado for 60 years. And Colorado is actually the home of United Way. The very first one was in Denver and started over 100 years ago. Our mission is really to address our community's greatest needs. And so those needs do shift over time, but we are always here looking to support the community in the best and most efficient way possible. Before everything with COVID started, we were really focused on financial stability, youth and education, nonprofit capacity building, and community engagement. And none of those priorities have gone away. They have just morphed a bit as we're trying to be especially responsive to the needs in the community right now.
I also like to think that United Way is a leader in connecting people to our nonprofit partners, whether they are individuals looking for volunteer opportunities or individuals who have a passion for a specific cause. We can help connect them and kind of meet those goals and aspirations that they have. We actually just changed our mission statement to really celebrate the philanthropic kind of feel and joy that's in our community. We have a very generous community here in Larimer County, and that was part of the reason why we wanted to change our mission, was to celebrate that philanthropic feeling of giving time, treasure, and talent when working with nonprofit agencies or people in need.
Mm-hmm. So it really focuses on people who need help, but also those who want to help.
Yes.
I love that. Now, Annie, you were talking about how COVID has changed things a little bit for United Way in terms of needs. Can you go into that a little bit more about what those general needs were and are and how they're changing because of COVID-19?
Sure. Thanks for the question. United Way is really trying to be a nimble organization. And when the seriousness of the COVID-19 crisis really hit Larimer County, we almost overnight turned our website into a one-stop shop for resources. So when you come to the United Way homepage now, you find, just as Mandy mentioned, those ways to give of time, treasure, or talent, but they're all specifically directed right now to our COVID response. So we're still assisting individuals who need help with financial stability, but that is especially being focused on rent assistance right now, which is one of the larger needs in the community at this time. We're also doing more around resource connection for individuals to supplement the 211 call center and 211colorado.org, which provide people around the state and in our local communities with resources. This is especially important in this time when we're seeing our call center volume triple or even quadruple on some days. We wanted to have multiple entry points for people to find resources in our community. United Way is a lot about collaboration and cross-sector partnerships, and we're continuing to work with our cities and county entities, as well as very generous local businesses, to do what we can to support the community through this really difficult time.
How about you, Mandy? How have you seen COVID-19 affect United Way?
Aside from resource and referral development, as Annie said, we've connected with the city of Fort Collins. They are translating the pages that we have created, the pages of resources that we've created and shared on our website. They've been translating it into Spanish for us so that we are being more inclusive to our Latinx community. And the county has very generously donated some of their staff members to volunteer looking for these resources and keeping these resource pages up to date so that we have the most accurate information. Aside from kind of supervising that, the biggest request that I've been receiving from people is how can they help? How can they volunteer? How can they do attend volunteer opportunities in person or virtually? How can they support their neighbor, their immediate community or neighborhood as we all go through this COVID-19 crisis together? And we actually offered a webinar earlier today that will be posted. We recorded it and we'll post it on our website tomorrow, Friday. So by the time this airs, it should be on our website. And that webinar, again, just addresses how to volunteer safely and also how to look for and support nonprofits who are in great need for volunteers right now, in person or virtually. The other thing that we have done is created a new volunteer website that should be launched later, like mid-April, so around the 15th, that should be live, and that will revolve specifically about COVID-19 volunteer opportunities in our community and how people can help. And we've also worked really hard with our partners at the Community Foundation for the Northern Colorado COVID-19 Response Fund. And Annie can talk more about that. I've been working more with the with individuals and businesses and people looking to assist nonprofits in our community. And Annie's been working hard on raising funds to help our community nonprofits and meet their needs and the needs of their clients.
I know that most of the details will be in that webinar you mentioned, but would you be able to give us just a little highlight of how people can volunteer safely?
Yeah, so the first thing is just to remember that you need to take care of yourself first. If you are in one of our highly susceptible demographics, if you are immunocompromised or, again, a senior or a younger person, a child, you don't want to volunteer. Just take care of yourself first and make sure that you are mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared to volunteer, because right now it is pretty stressful for individuals. The social distancing and physical distancing can be really rough. So make sure that you are mentally, physically prepared for volunteering. And then volunteer in whichever capacity is comfortable for you and the situation that you are in. Don't volunteer for an activity that you are not comfortable with. Make sure you are asking questions when you reach out to agencies so that you are comfortable with the volunteer opportunity. And don't be afraid to overwash your hands. Don't be afraid to bring your own mask, your own gloves. That is just another way to support our nonprofits, because by bringing your own hand sanitizer, mask, and gloves, you're using your own resources and not the resources of the nonprofits. And then that is taking care of those safety precautions. Using that PPE is taking care of yourself, the people that you're interacting with on a day, like during your volunteer shift, the nonprofit staff members and other volunteers, as well as the clients that they serve.
Going back, Annie, you mentioned 211. For those who are new here, what is the 211 line?
Well, I really should let Mandy talk about this because she is our 211 queen bee. But in general, 211 was started in Colorado about 15 years ago, and it is a confidential, free, bilingual call line that any individual in Larimer County or anywhere in Colorado can call when they need help with a variety of basic needs, questions, or resources. In the past, we've seen a lot of the calls around the need for childcare and getting connected to childcare services. Right now, our biggest need by far that's coming into the call centers is for help with rent assistance, and followed closely by assistance for utilities and food assistance. So it's a great way for us to keep our pulse on the needs in the community and help United Way and other philanthropic organizations direct resources. It's also for the individuals who are calling, it's a way for people both to get help and get connected to the direct service nonprofits who can provide it. And it's also a way for people to say, I want to give help and get connected to, again, some of those volunteer resources.
The call center right now is experiencing about 1,400 calls a day, where we are used to about 350 phone calls a day. So if people do call 211, and it's as simple as dialing 211 to reach one of our community navigators, and you have an extremely long wait time, please feel free to actually search our online database, and that is search.211colorado.org. You can find all of our resources listed there. Again, it is a statewide database, so if you are living in Larimer County, you will find Larimer County resources. But if you have family members that are outside of Larimer County, maybe in Summit County or the city of Denver or even Colorado Springs, you can still access those resources and help find referrals for your family members who are not in Larimer County. That's one of the really cool things about this 211 statewide collaborative effort that we've put together. I also want to mention that our database is actually translatable. When you go to the database, up in the top right-hand corner, there is a drop-down menu, and you can actually immediately translate the entire 211 database into, I think there's 30 different languages, which is pretty awesome because we do have a very diverse community in the state of Colorado. And I think that is something to make sure to mention.
Now, I know every case is different, so this is a big picture question, but in general, what would the process look like, say, for example, if someone called the 211 line needing help with rent because of COVID-19?
So currently, again, with the call volume that we have, they might be waiting for a little while. When we've originally reacted to Governor Polis's request to open up the emergency line with our 211 agents and support COVID-19 response, in addition to our year-round resources that we give out. We were experiencing about a 4-hour wait time. However, we have activated over 40 staff members to help answer phone calls. So you might have a little bit of a wait time, but not nearly as long as it was when we first activated our emergency line. But you will reach one of our community navigators. We'll ask you to give us your zip code so we can kind of start narrowing down where you live and what resources are near you and your neighborhood that you are in. We try to connect people to resources that are nearby. That way, if they have transportation issues or are not able to get somewhere that's far away, they're able to go right within a walking distance, potentially. Hopefully, that's what we always shoot for. The community navigator will ask questions and say, is this a COVID-19 related issue, concern? And then the community navigator will look for nonprofits and businesses that are supporting or helping people with rent assistance, specifically to address COVID-19 related rental issues, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we will kind of narrow it down and target and provide resources that are specifically addressing the COVID-19 related rental need, rental assistance need, or mortgage assistance need. Because we do want to make sure that we are utilizing the funds that are directly related to COVID-19 for COVID-19. That way, the people who are not impacted by COVID-19 still have access to the other funds that are available. And then we give people contact information. We go through and make sure that they are eligible. If there's an eligibility requirement, we'll go through that because we also don't want to send people off with names and numbers to agencies like Neighbor to Neighbor if they don't meet the eligibility requirements for Neighbor to Neighbor.
Right, right. So very easy, inclusive for everyone to access.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, and our agents are a lot more succinct than I am.
Not a problem. You're doing great. What else would you ladies like people to know about the United Way for Larimer County right now?
Well, one thing that I think, and also Mandy is our lead here that she didn't mention, but that has been, I think, is a huge resource for the community at this time, is that United Way is also utilizing our building as a collection and distribution site for critical supplies for both nonprofits and childcare providers throughout the county. So we have hours from 9 to 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays when individuals can drop off those critical supplies, and you can find that list on our website. Again, that's www.uwaylc.org. And then those items will be distributed or delivered to the nonprofits who need them each Friday. So it's another way that community members can be involved in helping others in the community, and a way to address needs that are constantly changing. And so as that list of critical needs is updated, we'll provide different information out to the community. If someone's at their home and they don't feel comfortable coming to the United Way parking lot to drop off supplies, we've also started through Amazon Smiles an account where people can go on and donate items with Amazon by ordering them there. Those items will be delivered to our office and then distributed out into the community. And there's information on our homepage about that as well.
Because this donation drive is pretty massive, we will be recruiting volunteers who would be willing to help deliver to nonprofit agencies or help man the donation station. We have established protocols that will keep safe physical distance between our volunteers and any member of the community dropping off donations for our nonprofit partners. And we do have protocols in place for the delivery of those items to our partners. So we are, again, making sure that everybody is safe first, but we will have those volunteer opportunities posted on our website on, again, April 15th, I believe, when our new volunteer portal goes live. That's fingers crossed.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you both so much for taking the time to talk to me. And thank you again, just to United Way in general, for all that they're doing to help the community right now.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, Emily. It's been great.
Again, that was Mandy Lee and Annie Davies from the United Way of Larimer County. If you need help from the United Way, you can always call 211. And if you would like to volunteer, visit uwaylc.org.